Good.
Hi, everybody. Can we hear me okay? Mr. Holfit still getting mic'd up.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's no one here micing him. Hi, you guys over on Facebook. Give us a shout out if you can hear okay. I'm just checking to see that we're up and going.
Spain. Hi from Spain.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Periscope. Yes, Joey Downey, watch this. Good morning, Jill from Abbotsford,
Minnesota.
Hey, you guys, someone on Facebook, let us know we're good to go. You hear us? Okay. Good stuff.
Hi, Oakville.
Hi, how are you? Got home from work this morning?
Yes.
Can hear you, can't see you. You can't see us? Okay, just making sure we're good to go. This is part of the perks of live. Everyone else is saying we're good to go. So Taylor, it must be on your end, babe. Okay, awesome to be with you guys for this week's HOL Talks. If you're brand new to the live broadcast, welcome. Say hello if this is your first time. And where you're from, you might find that you have a friend watching live with you. You guys can meet up. Good to find your tribe where you are. Okay, awesome. A lot of you say you can't see us. Let me see what is up. Oh, I know why. There we go. Hi, is that better? It will come. I just had to click over to the live stream there. Okay, let me give you a moment. Let me see if you can see us okay. Be the first to let us know that you can see us okay. Okay, we're good to go. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so welcome. I'll start over. If you're brand new, welcome to the live broadcast. Let us know where you're streaming in from, where you're from. You might find a new friend that lives in your area. Always good to find your people wherever you are that have similar goals as you. And hello to those of you listening to this as a replay over on iTunes. Just so you guys all know, if you're brand new, HOL Talks is a podcast over on iTunes. So for those of you that like to have Drive Time University, if you want life, love, and leadership in the car or on your run or whatever you like to do while you're listening to podcasts, we have that available for you. So you can find it as HOL Talks on iTunes. And I'd love for you to just hop over and share your thoughts through the reviews, because when you review a podcast, I don't know if you guys knew this, when you review a podcast or when you download an episode, it actually helps it become more visible to people in the world of iTunes. So this is why you'll see podcasts ranking in the top 10s, is because people took the time to download those episodes and to leave a review. So if you find that this weekly time together adds value to your life, we would greatly appreciate you stopping by iTunes to leave a review. Okay, is there anything you want to open up with?
No,
okay.
Let's just get into it.
Do I have your permission to go off on a 5-minute just part 2 from last week?
Like you're not going to do it anyways.
That's true. Just my nice way of saying this is happening. So last week, if you joined the broadcast, we talked about how it takes a village to raise a vision. Because we often have heard that statement, those of us that are parents, right? We know that it's a very different day to raise our kids. Back in the day, maybe our parents or our grandparents had a very different form of community and had the village there to support them in doing their most important work, raising children. And so the topic last week was, for those of you that are business owners, how essential it is for you to begin asking help earlier than, like sooner than later. And I went through the 5 different levels of how you'll ask for help. And a lot of my message last week was for those of you seeking high-level time management, high-level leadership in the form of what it will look like when you're on the 5th rung and you're making a lot of money per hour, and you get there only because you're somebody who has embraced the need to ask for help as you go. But I wanted to just take 5 minutes at the beginning of this broadcast to talk about what it looks like in the fire phase, like before you actually get to the point where you're able to outsource and do all those things. And this would be where a lot of you might feel you're at right now, where you are the one who's needing to get out there, hit the pavement and do the work because you maybe don't have that belief or that trust from other people in your vision yet. I want to speak into that. And there was a question that Katie Den Olden, I don't know if she's on right now, she said, I'd love to know what this weekly design that you shared looks like or differs from when you were at different ranks in your business versus now. So I think by her question, she said that she's a platinum leader in doTERRA. So again, what I shared last week when I gave you a glimpse at a week in the life for me, you noticed a couple of things. It's very intentional because I know that my focus is my highest income earning activity. And I protect that. And it has been a work in progress to get to that point, right? I mean, I have had to learn through saying yes to too many people, through saying yes to too many things that were not aligned, through trying to do it all. I mean, I've done all those things to get to the place now where I'm very intentional and protective of how I spend my time, who I spend it with, where I give my focus. You know this about me. It rubs people the wrong way about me, to be honest. It rubs people the wrong way when they don't have those same boundaries and respect of their time and place. I really upset these people. It upsets people in high levels of leadership that are not living their joy and their passion. And that's the number one reason they aren't, because they're not honoring their gifts and their time with respect. So, but there's a whole lot of people that have a goal of living with intention and ultimately wanting to know, what does that look like to be able to live a life where it's, super dialed in like that. So I wanted to share that to inspire the right people, okay? So the thing I wanted to just share with you is that every successful person whether it be, somebody who's successful in business or an athlete, whatever you define as that is a successful role model, they have all had times where they were willing to do the things that other people were not willing to do. It's really that simple, because when you have an understanding that it's going to take years of you, giving your heart to growing something meaningful, you are very prepared to be in it for the long haul, and you detach from those expectations. It's a personal standard of what you put into it. So for example, before I ever joined doTERRA, some of you followed me from the early days when I first started WholeFit, tons of late nights, tons of years, like tons of time through the 5 years, writing my heart out to create community, create relationships with people. And for a good, 5 years, there was no return on that, you guys. When somebody says to me, how do I do this when I don't have an online following? They're ignorant to what it takes to actually create a community. It takes a lot of pouring in, a lot of love, a lot of detaching from immediate outcomes, okay? Now, when I started doTERRA, I approached this business the exact same way. How many of you have seen Share Success put out this great, these are my notes, by the way. I'm prepared for you. These are my, this Share Success belief mountain. It's a belief plus action equals results. I love it when we're talking about doTERRA and we look at the various ranks in doTERRA, which represent a leadership level. It's really easy to choose your adventure. And when I first thought about doing this business, I wasn't going to do it with one foot in, okay? That's just who I am, right? Like I'm not going to commit to something if I can't feel totally aligned with it and know I can give it my all and it's going to be worth it. So when I actually decided I was going to be one of the key leaders in this natural health movement, Presidential Diamond was like, yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in on living my legacy. And I saw how doTERRA was going to be the opportunity for me to do the things that my heart was longing to do long before doTERRA, right? It was just like the perfect fit. And I knew it was presidential and I was willing to do what it took to build that. So what that took for me, to get back to Katie's question, you guys, it was 2 to 3 essential oil classes every single week for about 2 years.
Yeah.
You remember those days?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that all the time, and how much work you were putting in, not just the travel time and the late nights. It's the preparation, everything else. And I'm saying this not to scare anyone off, but that's exactly what it takes. There's no quick fix, or I know this is a buzzword. There's no quick hack to getting to where you want to go. It's doing the hard work. And I know that watching you do that, exactly. You didn't cut any corners. You didn't take any side steps or shortcuts around anything. You just put the work in. And basically at the end of the day, that's all that's going to matter anyways, is you have to put the work in. You have to put the work in. Right?
Hi, Melanie. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing was, because I was committed to that, I had my head down, focused on serving people in this way. And I was willing to do it. I was willing and very eager to say yes to every opportunity there was to help people connect to their empowered journey, right? Where they had the tools to actually live a healthier life. It meant so much to me to have that opportunity to teach. So yeah, Morgan, this was a variety of classes. This was me getting out there, again, saying yes to every person that was curious to learn more about oils. And this looked like 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. But on average, in my first 2 years in doTERRA, I taught over 300 classes, you guys. And I hit diamond in 8 months. I ended up hitting presidential diamond in 2 years. But that's why. It didn't happen because I sat back and tried to manifest it or gave up when I only had, one person show up to a class. It was a commitment to doing whatever it took to honor my heart, to honor. Thanks, Jill just posted this for you guys to check out. Download it, save it to your desktop. But I did whatever it took, and I was willing to do that. I was willing to go first. I was willing to be the first, to not know what it looked like to perfectly build this business, but to do it anyway and to keep following my heart. I was willing to deal with the dark side, you guys, first, right? I was willing to deal with negative people. Because guess what? Someone's got to be the first to go and to face the people that are ignorant or seeking to tear down.
You're going to find a lot more of those people out there at the beginning.
100%.
Yeah. And the funny thing is about that is the people that are trying to drag you down and be negative, those are the people who aren't doing anything. Anything that I like to say, one of my favorite terms is, you're not really doing anything that matters. You're not really doing anything that is benefiting someone other than yourself. And if you're going to sit back on your heels and criticize and come in off the top rope and just judge and say whatever, then you're not really contributing to anything. So be prepared for those people and have that mindset going in that you're going to do it, but just brush it off. It's no big deal, because really, if they're talking to you like that and acting that way toward you, and they're your friend, they're not your friend. Or they're just trying to drag you down.
See, okay, here's the thing. This is a really important thing to understand. There's going to be a burn off that happens as you're growing. And as you're stepping more into your light, you're going to be a very uncomfortable mirror for people that are not, okay? You will lose friends as you are growing, okay? I have lost several that I at some point considered a friend. And to be honest with you guys, I've been the muse of a lot of negative Instagram posts. They post it with an energy to tear me down, but what they do is they do it in a passive aggressive way to see how many people they can collect to think the way they do. It probably happens weekly without my knowing, because I am so driven by my heart and where I'm feeling called, I can be very polarizing, right? I can be very polarizing in speaking that truth into people. And it's very uncomfortable for people who are choosing to remain ignorant. I read this quote. It's by the author Matt Kahn. And he said, despite how open, how peaceful, and how loving you attempt to be, people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. I love that. How true is this? You will come across people along your path that, as you're growing, you need this. The beginning of boundaries, it like starts now, and it'll start in that form where you start to really protect your energy, your focus, your heart. And it is so true. You will have a burn-off effect with people, okay? There will be people that are meant to leave the journey you're on. So you got to be okay with that. But one thing I just want to come back to with Katie's question. So she's a platinum leader in doTERRA, which means she has 3 silver leaders. You know, how different would it look then? And when you understand this kind of the belief that happens at the different leadership ranks in doTERRA, a platinum leader becomes solid in their rank when they have effectively built belief within their team. So a platinum leader in doTERRA has 3 leaders that are silvers with them. Now a silver leader, they're not stable until they have cultivated a higher belief in themselves. So do you see what happens? You don't grow in the ranks until you've truly established the belief level at that rank. And so a platinum leader has to shift their focus away from just their own stuff to helping their team have a higher belief in themselves. Because you don't go to diamond until you've really understood this. You don't go from platinum to diamond rank until you've created a solid belief with your team. Some people do, yes. Some people force their way through growth in the ranks, and we know these people by how uncomfortable we feel in their presence, because we can see that they didn't get it as they were growing. Okay, they forced it, and you feel weird in their presence because they don't feel, they don't have the leadership posture that, for example, a diamond or a blue diamond or a presidential diamond should have. Do you know what I mean? You've met these people, I'm sure. So that's an important piece to understand, and that dictates the level of discipline and the work that you're going to want to take at your current rank to basically solidify that belief. But the bottom line is this, you guys: when there's a calling on your life, and you know it by when you spend time in quiet, you know what excites you. What would you do right now if someone blessed you with an extra 24 hours today? You know, what would be the work that lights you up? Within that is your calling. Okay, when you are clear on that, you will do the work. You absolutely will do the work, because nothing compares to this, and it's not worth living a life where you're not living your purpose. It just does not feel good, and a lot of people will go their whole life not tapping into their gifts and living their life intentionally, but it's a decision either way. And so let that write your job description. What's your move, you guys? If you look, for example, I think a lot of you on right now are building doTERRA. So if you actually pull up, Jill, my assistant, posted this, okay? If you pull this up and you look at the belief level at each rank, choose your adventure. Decide what aligns with you. For me, it was presidential. I hit it in 2 years because I let that dictate the job description I was going to hold myself accountable to daily, even when I had leaders who weren't, okay? It's ownership of what I knew I was here to do, not expecting a whole lot of people. Let them surprise you in a great way when they are as committed to their growth as you are to yours. You know what I mean? Like, let that come as a surprise. Don't expect it from people. Because if your goal is to achieve a rank like diamond in doTERRA, it might be a while before the belief level of your team actually catches up to yours, but that's okay. And write a job description for yourself. My last thing I want to just really emphasize: how many things in your life, like how many jobs have you had? I'm 37, about to turn 38. If you're my age, how many jobs have you held where you were there for 4 years? Most people, if they start a job, they'll be there a couple years, right? 4 years. I would challenge you to decide, where do you see yourself in this belief mountain? What really aligns for you? And then write a job description for yourself as if you were working for someone else, like all of you have. You've all gone into a job before, and you were given a description of what success looks like, and you were measured against that. You were paid based on that. Many times not paid your worth, but you do it. You go in, you do it. It's time to do that for yourself and hold yourself accountable to that. That's what it looks like when you're in the fire. And I would say give it 4 years. Don't be the person, don't be the 95% that quit after year 1 or quit after the first person doesn't show up to a class. There's a whole ton of people like that. Is that you? I doubt it. I mean, I really don't think that this broadcast attracts people like that. They're pretty quick to hop off. So be the one that sticks it out, you guys. And, let something like this dictate what you're going to do on a daily basis. I just want to, let's answer a few of the live questions.
I just had a quick sort of, I just noticed that when we were talking about like the people that were trying to drag you down, like everything sort of seemed to light up on the comments and stuff like that. Guys, you have to realize that people don't like to see other people be successful and live a life that they're happy with.
Well, not everyone. No.
Well, I know, but
people whose hearts are in the right place cheer on other people who are successful.
I'm talking about the ones, again, like I saw the comments light up where I'm dealing with this right now, and so sends me all this literature against it and everything else. Even if we're not talking about doTERRA and the oils and everything else, in life, it just seems like right now, everyone loves to just crap on everyone else for something that they don't have or that they want. And now this is just me speaking here. I mean, you might have a different opinion about this.
That's okay.
But really, guys and girls, at the end of it all that really matters is your happiness and your family's happiness. I say to you all the time at night, like we've had these conversations before, that really at 9 o'clock at night when everyone's getting ready for bed and everyone's in their house, those are the only people that really matter. The ones that are in those four walls and your roof of the house, those are the ones that you're doing it for, right? Mm. And to worry about, you know, Sally or Jim or Bob or whoever that you work with or is a friend of a friend or is on your kid's hockey team or, you know, you run into at soccer practice and they're trying to bring you down and try to dissuade you from doing something that you feel in your heart you really want to do. What's the point of having that negativity in your life? At the end, for myself, one of the biggest things I've always done my whole life, and you probably don't agree with this, but you know, everyone talks about haters and haters. You know what? Use that hate to motivate yourself even more and show them up and show them that, yeah, I can do this regardless of what you say. And you'll still be at the back of the line. You'll still be the one, you know, telling me, no, it's no good. It's no good. It's not worth it. Everything else. But you've moved past those people, and don't live your life to please other people. Live your life to please the people that only truly matter to you. And I mean, only truly matter to you. Not the seasonal friend again that you see at the rink or the ball diamond or whatever like that. Who cares what they think? Really, who cares what they think? So because they got their own thing going on at home and their own life and everything else. Like, just, if you feel this, do it. Do it 100%. Don't get wrapped up what so-and-so says or someone sends you some literature or anything else. Like, because what really are they to you?
And yeah, it leads to a disappointing
absolutely
discovery.
Nothing. Because at the well, and I always say this, when it comes down to it, they're not paying your bills. They're not paying your mortgage. They're not paying your car payments. They're not the ones taking your kids to school. So really, they don't matter. The only people that matter in your life are the ones that you know in your heart are the ones that are closest to you. So do not get wrapped up in what so-and-so says and everything else. Like, this has always been an issue with me because it seems now that whenever you have an internet connection or a Twitter account or an Instagram account or a MySpace account, whatever, everyone's got the biggest balls you've ever seen. But none of these people would have the balls to ever say any of this stuff to your face. And we all know it. We all know it. Because that's just the way people are. Anyone who's got enough nuts to say that to someone online, they've got no balls to say it to your face. And guys, it ain't worth it.
You're saying balls a lot.
I know. It ain't worth getting into it with something like that. And I'll end on this note. I'll go back to it. Use that hate or that feeling of you can't do this as motivation to show them up. And again, you probably don't agree with it, but sort of that's always been the way that we've sort of seen it in my life.
I kind of agree. And to be honest, I think that gets you over the hump to your real motivation kicking in to the point where you actually don't care.
If you need a push, yeah, you're right. If you need a push, use that as the motivation to get to the top of the mountain. After that, leave them in the dust. Go ahead. No,
it's all good.
Balls.
Hashtag balls. Should just call this episode balls. He just got home from the fire hall.
Yeah, it takes
There's always a bit of a detox that has to happen with his language. But anyway. Just a couple of things I just wanted to touch on. So who asked here? I'm going to answer these like super fast because we have a couple questions I wanted to pull from the queue. How far was I willing to travel for those classes while still being a great mom? Here's the thing. I was very clear on what I was creating for my family. There were short-term things I needed to do where maybe I wasn't in our house every single night with the kids, right? To create the life we live now, which is together all the time and really living our life by design. And so that's key. You've got to be willing to be uncomfortable in the beginning in order for to have like true comfort at the end. So Bria said, do you feel the time and energy you put into building your business in the beginning stages took away from family time? And was that something you were okay with? Okay, so a lot of you are asking questions about that because deep down you're worried that this is going to mean that you're a bad mom. Mm-hmm. So this is really important that you are clear with your household, your husband, your wife, whoever it is. You're clear with them and you say, it's going to be uncomfortable for the next year to 2 years, but here's why. And you go into this as a team. And if you don't have their support, then you get creative. You invest in support so that when you're out teaching the classes, it's not taking away as much, okay? But there does come a time where you've got to be clear and say, hey, it's not going to be easy for the next year to 2 years, but here's why we're doing this. I have a lot of no-shows or only one-person shows. Do you have advice for that? You know what? That's a topic that needs a little bit of a longer answer. But the point is, invite people authentically, take care of them, serve them when they come to your classes, but don't worry if nobody shows up to your class. Honor that time as doTERRA time, and don't give up. That's not an indication that you need to give up.
No.
Shannon said, the challenge for me right now is I want to be all in with doTERRA, but since I'm only elite, I can't close my home daycare yet. 2 businesses that require me to be very present. Yeah, you know what, Shannon, it's not going to be easy.
No.
But the thing is, the people who grow this and truly grow it, they all have a season where they decide, you know what, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to stay up till 2 in the morning, or I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. I'm going to do what it takes until I'm at the point where I can close that full-time gig. Okay, it will come. I mean, the important thing is that you're diversifying your time and the way you're earning money so that you have so that you're in a place where you have options. Okay, good. Where the focus goes, the energy flows. Absolutely. Okay, Flo, I'm not sure if this is like, okay. Mommy bloggers who warned against oils and stuff about doTERRA that isn't true. She also posted about oils for the first time ever, and she doesn't even use them. Happens to be now when I'm starting about a different company. So what?
Go back. Just go back to what I just talked about, and there's your answer, I think. Right?
Oh, man. I mean, I love these people. I love to make these people really uncomfortable by just like being right there, present. The thing is, here's the problem. Here's the problem people have when they're negative or fear-mongering about using essential oils. The biggest problem they're up against is the problem of why over 5 million people are getting healthier with every day. It's a problem they encounter when they see people like us in our home and the way we're raising our kids who are very healthy. They have a real legitimate problem they have to confront of why there are so many people getting healthier through them and becoming more empowered and removing themselves from the broken system, you guys. You need to, like, who cares? But of course, you guys, this is going to get louder, right? This kind of stuff is going to get louder. It's by design that it does. Just like I said, there's a burn off. I have, again, people that at some point in my life would have been considered a friend of mine have said very hurtful things, but it's all
not
all
losing
part
any
of it.
sleep over it.
No, absolutely not. Okay. All right. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to address before we go to the doc. Lindsay said, I went from gold to diamond and definitely had to go back and learn some lessons I missed. But that's beautiful awareness. I have leaders like that too, right? Who they've identified that they didn't quite develop long enough at that stage. And that's, it's okay. It's great. Thank you guys for your comments. I read them all, even though we might not have time to address them all. Okay, good. All right, Wow, lots of comments. You guys rock.
Agreed, Susan.
And is it easy for you to accept recognition from your husband as a positive supporter that encourages you to succeed in your business? Is it easy for me to accept recognition from you? Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my job, to give you recognition.
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
Yeah.
Maybe you could
Marissa.
expand on that. Awesome, Ingrid. Wow, you guys are a lively bunch today. I love this. Okay. Okay, good. Awesome. I made it through. All right, keep commenting as we go. But so a couple of questions I pulled from the doc. And Jill, would you post the question topic link if you guys have a suggestion for an upcoming broadcast or have a question for the show? You can add it to the queue, so we'll take them. So first question, this person wrote, starting from nothing, and that's all they wrote. So when you write your questions, if you can be like really specific around what you're needing, I'm going to take an assumption of this question that she's saying. There's a bit of an energy of, well, I don't have a social media following, or I don't have a large network, so why should I even bother, right? I'm starting from nothing. So newsflash, here's the big newsflash. Every single one of us start from nothing when we're building a business. So you have to decide, I think the sooner that you can be clearer on who you actually want to help, this will be somebody that at some point in your journey you were, okay? If you're not a mom, you should not even be trying to write for moms and trying to help moms, because you're not a mom. It does not make sense. You need to be very authentic with how you're serving, because it's not something that you've lived through. So the sooner that you can be clearer on that, that's where you start. And you start nurturing that community or that person, that muse, right? You start to serve them. You think about their frustrations. You think about how you can solve a problem for them. And you start to create content. You write, you do Facebook Lives, you show up, you give of your time, you start from nothing because it's worth it to you. And because along your journey, you've learned something that is going to put you in a position to help that person. What do you have to say to somebody who says, well, I have to start from nothing? Like, was there a time when you think about your career, starting from nothing looked like what?
Starting from nothing was taking the first step in a weekend course of doing first aid or CPR or whatever you need to do. And I'm just talking about my profession, but everyone starts at nothing. And that sounds so cliche thing to say, but
talk about how you respected knowing where you were at when you started.
Oh, yeah. Well, if we're going to talk about when I got hired on the job, they pretty much tell you right at the start that you are nothing. They don't say you're starting from nothing. They tell you you are nothing.
To take this message next level.
Yeah, and you have to understand, like, this is a world that is so, we could say it like rank oriented and seniority based and everything else. And they tell you right from the beginning, you are nothing. So what you have to do, or what I had to do, and a lot of other guys had to do, was earn the trust, earn the respect, and show everyone else that you were good at this profession that you want. And the only way to do that was to put the work in. You had to put the work in. You had to put the extra time in. You had to look at the books. You had to read. You had to study. You had to do the little things. I find that it was doing the little things in my world that made the biggest difference for people and that were ahead of you. So I think if you want to compare it to the business world, it was doing the smallest little things that made the big picture like so much brighter. And I mean, like you said, Aaron, it's like everyone starts from nothing. Like, and this kind of goes back to the old saying, like, no one's going to hand you any of this stuff. It all comes down to one word. It's just work. You have to put the work in, and you have to find your way to get into that world. Not, oh, I have nothing. XYZ. I have no social media. I have no idea how to write. I have no idea how to blog. Find what works for you and put all your effort into that 100%. Go hard at it. And then you'll find out that, oh yeah, I am good at this. I found my why. I found my reason of why I want to do this.
Like, can you guys even believe the opportunities that exist today as to be an entrepreneur, to create a life that is on your terms, and to be able to market yourself with so many free tools? There's literally not a single excuse in the book today as to why you can't start from nothing and build something. And we all do start there.
And find somebody that, find someone in the world that is in the same situation that you started at. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that everyone who's successful in business or whatever, doTERRA, business, XYZ, doesn't matter. They all were handed something. And you'll find that the people that are so successful and so bright were handed nothing. They had to work for it. The people that were handed something, I always like to say the people that were born on third base, they always end up messing it up or screwing it up because they never found out really what it was like to put the work in, the hard work, the crappy work, the digging in the corners, dirty work. They never knew what it was like to have that. And once adversity hits, they don't know what to do. But for the guy that, has cleaned toilets his whole life, like which I did when I started.
You still do?
Yeah, I still do.
If he's the junior guy on the job because the other 3 guys he's working with are more senior to him, even though you've had 20 years on the job, guess who's cleaning the toilets that day?
Yeah, but it's doing the dirty work, and and doing the dirty work is the thing that will make it so much better at the end, because you'll be able to handle the adversity when it'll come, and it's definitely going to come. Thanks. Go ahead.
Yeah, so let's go on to the second question. And Danette on Periscope, I got your question there. We'll do it last. Hold on one second. Oh, this is a juicy one. Okay, my upline recommends that when I enroll someone at a class, that I set up their monthly order automatically with a bottle of lemon for them, and then tell them about it afterwards. I'm not too keen on this and would love to hear your thoughts on this. I want to recognize that I might have some high-level leaders on here who actually advise this to their team. So respectfully, I disagree with this. But here's why. The work that we do is to empower people, yeah? We want to help them get essential oils into their home so they can make more empowered decisions around their healthcare. What I believe our real role is to connect people to a way of living where everything they do is empowered. Right through to wanting to do a doTERRA business, we empower them by not recruiting people to do a business, but allowing them to choose their adventure. And if they feel led to want to help others in this way, then they'll want to do the business. It's an empowered decision. We don't force people to do anything. So this question upsets me because if you're not being upfront with somebody and automatically making a decision for them, you know what, you guys, that's exactly why someone wants to look the other way when they find out that doTERRA is built through a network marketing model. I want to be super truthful about this. It had to be network marketing because of the power of community and the right support. But honestly, that's what really gives this whole industry a negative tone, is people feeling like they're going to get sucked into something. And what we do best, building a doTERRA business, is empowering somebody in every way, you guys. And that's not an empowering move. I mean, it's a short-term. It's a self-serving move.
It's a short-term quick fix move. It's like the guys that come to your door and try to sell you or sell you on buying a rented water heater. They just force themselves in and tell you how great it is. And some people end up just being like, whoa, it sounds good. All right, I trust you. But we all know that those guys with the badges are not to be trusted.
Right. No, I don't recommend that. What I recommend instead is when you're teaching a class, you spend about 2 minutes at the end letting people know that there's a couple levels of how you can start it. Level 1, you can just purchase your oils at 25% off, just like you would with like a Costco membership. Level 2 would be earning free product through living this lifestyle, and that would be through the Loyalty Rewards program, which is a monthly order. But you say to them at the class, don't worry, I can go over that with you when I have our welcome call or our membership overview call or whatever you want to call it. And you know, 70% of people won't actually take you up on that call, but they're going to get a lot of exposure to the different perks within doTERRA throughout their journey. Don't force it in the beginning. And then the third level of play would be they want to focus on their own healing first and then get out there and be a guide for others. And that would be doing the business, right? So the whole LRP thing, I mean, obviously we know if somebody, LRP is the Loyalty Rewards program, but obviously we know that the best way to actually live this healthy, happier lifestyle long-term is to have the tools in your home, you know, and to be using them consistently. And so people, you know, generally as they get going are going to want to do that, but let it come from them. Third question, how important or beneficial do you find your background education in health sciences and nutrition? Do you find it useful when combining essential oils and nutrition? It's beneficial for me because this is my passion, is helping people live a very holistic life where one thing doesn't happen at the cost of another, okay? So it was helpful for me in my message, but that doesn't mean it's helpful for everybody in their message. And because we work with a product, with a category that can go in 100 different directions, you might be somebody passionate about pets. Maybe you've worked in a pet store since high school and you want to be a vet and you know a lot about pets. Well, having a degree in nutrition, no, doesn't do much for you, but the background and experience you bring to that niche market using essential oils with their pets, huge. And newsflash, there's not many people doing it well. You know, let's say you've been in the beauty industry, maybe you've managed a spa for years. Your niche market is going to be helping women who value their self-care transition to a very health promoting life force lifestyle with self-care as the focus. And you're the expert because you've been in that form of school forever, right? So if you have a passion for helping people really understand the total health picture and how it all comes together, then I would say at some point in your journey, you don't need to have this right away to start, but I'd say at some point over the next 50 years of your life, you might want to enroll in additional schooling, only if that's a passion that you have. So learning from, you know, I think functional medicine would definitely be the direction. If I was going to start over today with my background, I would not have gone to university for health sciences or taken holistic nutrition. I would have enrolled in a school with a focus on functional medicine. And I probably will at some point, to be honest. You know, Mark Hyman comes to mind. You should follow him, Dr. Mark Hyman. He has a whole program on that. So it's not essential. And again, I want to address the fear behind this question. The fear is that you're not enough to start this business and to teach people about oils. And that is not true. You need to just start because your heart for helping people, it trumps education every day of the week. Mm-hmm. If you show up and are committed to people and to helping them live a healthier life and finding the answers, none of us have all the answers, okay? But if your commitment and your heart is in the right place, your education means nothing. I know a lot of highly educated people that are complete jerks, and they don't make our world a healthier, happy place at all. In fact, their ego is so big because of their education that people don't even want to follow what they know.
It's one of those things where they just fall back on the letters.
Oh yeah, people love the credentials.
The letters after your name. It's like, well, you know, that's great. You got those letters and everything else, but all that really matters is what kind of person you are. And can you put that to use? Probably not.
Pay attention to people whose life speaks for what they know. Bottom line. We're kind of at a point in life where, because we have access to so many people, to so much information today, you can really go by the life someone's living to know whether they're worth your time. And this is like, I would never, ever go to a doctor that was clearly unhealthy or advocated things that do not promote total health. No way. I don't care that doctor's had 20 years of education within the medical system. To me, his life speaks for his lack of knowledge.
It's a new day.
It's a new day, people. That's right. So good news. Your education actually doesn't matter. Focus on life school. Focus on being with people, being a good human being and taking care of people, using your resources, and dedicate yourself to being a student of people who are living where you want to be in a couple of years. Pay attention to how they talk, pay attention to how they think, pay attention to how they live. Don't pay attention to people that just because they have acronyms behind their name, because newsflash, nobody cares about that anymore.
It's so 80s.
The 80s called. They want their acronyms back. Okay, last question for today. Came in on Periscope just now live, and post any thoughts on this topic, you guys.
Like you were.
What did Russ just say?
He said, my head placement makes me look like Matthew McConaughey.
Well played, Russell Schaefer.
In gold. Google that. Matthew McConaughey in gold. Google that.
We just watched that the other night, and it's a really good movie. He doesn't look so hot in it, though. Okay, Danette asked, what are your top 3 income-producing activities? And I'm like, okay, you know what? There's a lot of things you can do to create income into your business, but I wrote down 3 things, and they all start with the letter C, because it's just like the way my brain works. I'm like, oh, how can I acronym this for ease? You were slow there. Okay, here's my 3 things I do to create income and flow in my business and in my life. Number 1, creation. I create before I consume anything. So I focus on, how am I looking to add value today? Who's it to and in what form? And I do that first before I get this download of everyone else's agenda for me, like emails and texts and notifications. So I create before I consume, because what I know is what's on my heart and where I know I can add value, that's always the right first move. So I do that first. Second thing, connection with community. So I nurture relationships, whether that be online or people who have emailed me to ask more information about oils. I look at doing that with a couple of people every single day. That will always bless whatever your focus is, to just create connection with people. So decide what form that's going to take and with who every day. And then the third thing would be consumption. I'm a student for a couple hours every single day. I listen to podcasts or audiobooks for about 3 hours a day. In the morning, I'll do it often while I'm in creation mode. I'll be listening to some music. And then when I shift into connecting with people, that's when I'll often start up like an audiobook or a podcast. And I'll do a couple of hours that every day. So those are my 3 things: create, connect, and then consume. Recognizing that we're all always a student before we're a teacher first, right? So any parting words today? Let's see, we're gonna hop off in about 2 minutes. Hi, Aaron. Do you remember Aaron from Starbucks?
Yeah. Back
in the Starbucks days?
Yeah.
Musica, that was your name back then. Aaron Neely, nice to see you, girl. Simone, Leslie. Yeah, okay. Okay, good stuff, you guys. Thank you for joining live. I just wanted to let you know I'm traveling this week. I will be on live next week. You're working, aren't you, next week? Yeah, next Wednesday. So I'll be solo next week. I'm gonna actually do a topic next week on staying healthy through the winter. So using some key supplements, key approaches, specific essential oils that help support our immune systems. That'll be the topic next week. And then for those of you that calendar this broadcast because you attend live, you're part of the 200 that are on live right now. I won't be doing a live broadcast 2 weeks from now. So if you want to mark that in your calendars, but I will be back next week. Yeah, it's a great topic. And oh yes, Jill just posted. You'll see it posted as whole fit there. The link today, November 15th and 16th, is the Healthy Glowing Skin free webinars that doTERRA is doing. And I'm doing one of them with them today and tomorrow. So if you guys want to register for that, there's the link. Just post it into the Facebook comments and we'll post it into the show notes. Alrighty. Love to you all, wherever you are. Do you blow kisses?
No.
No.
I
What's
just
your
say
thing?
Thank you. No. Bye.
See you guys next week.